Hello, everybody, and welcome to our HacktoberFest live stream. I'm Kaya Imani from the Local Stack team, and I'm excited to be here with y'all today. HacktoberFest is all about celebrating open source, and this year we brought it back for the first time since 2022. And whether you're fixing typos, improving docs, or building full-blown sample apps, every contribution helps to make LocalStack better for developers everywhere. So today we've got two amazing guests joining us. First, we've got Harsh, who you all have seen on this stage multiple times. You're very familiar. Harsh is going to be talking to us about contributing to LocalStack samples, and those are the hands-on apps that show all of you what's possible with LocalStack. And Quetzalli, who is a new face on the stream, who leads our docs efforts, and she's going to be sharing tips on how to make your documentation PRs truly stand out. So without further ado, let's welcome our guests. Thank you, both Harsh and Quetzalli, for being on. Like I said, Harsh, everybody knows you. I really want everybody to get to know Quetzalli. Like, Quetzalli, tell us about yourself. Give us a really quick background.
Hi, Kaya. Hi, Harsh. Thanks for having me today. You two guys, everybody knows. So currently I work at LocalStack in the developer relations team with you, Kaya, and with Harsh, and I lead the documentation at LocalStack for all of our product lines. And I'm excited to be here with you and talk all about open source and docs contributions, and let me know how I can help out.
Awesome. Yes, thanks for that. Well, folks, grab your coffee, open GitHub, and get ready to learn. Let's get into it. So, Harsh, let's talk sample apps first. So, I've come with some questions. I came prepared. For someone new, what's the best way to explore the LocalStack samples and find inspiration for a new contribution?
That's a great question, Kaya. First of all, thanks for having me here. And for anyone who is not very much known to me, I'm Harsh. I currently lead the sample applications here at LocalStack, so I'm quite excited to share all this information and basically get you all started up with contributing to our sample apps. So maybe I can start sharing my screen. Maybe that would give a better insight about what's going on in the samples. So for anyone who is not familiar, we have got this new exciting docs experience. And over on the docs, we basically have got the sample apps page. So if you navigate to this page and you basically scroll around this, you will find a ton of samples available over here, which has been recently overhauled to make sure that they're updated to the recent dependencies. They're also relevant to some of the more exciting use cases that we have got, and also make sure that they are in parity with the real AWS cloud, because ultimately we want to build a very high fidelity, good in parity AWS emulator out there. Previously, this page used to have about 30 or so sample applications. We have cut this down to less than 10 right now. And we're still waiting to add more sample applications to this. So given the fact that we are still looking to add more and cover more and more use cases, I guess the best place for all of you to get started up contributing is helping us either build the sample applications or just kind of revamp those sample applications. So if you want to do that, the best place to go about right now is go to our LocalStack samples GitHub org. You can just go to github.com/localstack-samples. And yeah, you should be able to find a ton of sample applications over there. Again, not a lot of the sample applications are maintained on a due basis. So you can explore a bunch of sample applications out there. You can see okay, this is the one thing that may look interesting to me or to someone else. And maybe we can just bring it up to the current dependencies or some sort of a relevant use case and kind of put it out back onto the sample applications page. One quick example that I can potentially show right now, and this was one of the first sample applications that we had on the sample apps page, which was previously known as the developer hub, was this particular sample application. This was inherited from the official AWS samples GitHub organization. And we made like a bunch of updates over here to make sure that it's updated to work on local stack as well. But unfortunately, I guess the sample application was using CDK v1, which has been which has gone end of life. And this is something that we do not recommend to any customers anymore. So I just created a GitHub issue, mark it with the HacktoberFest label that, hey, we want to update the sample from AWS CDK v1 to AWS CDK v2. And this can be like an excellent contribution. I would very much say like this requires like just a couple of updates here and there, making sure that all of the CDK constructs and dependencies are like pretty much relevant to the v2 syntax, and you should be good to go. So this is very much like a good first issue. And this is what we would definitely like to see, like bringing back those old sample applications, making sure that they are revamped, and also fit in a particular relevant use case. And I pretty much can say that this can be a very, very great HacktoberFest contribution.
Very good. Okay, so you mentioned creating new sample apps as well. If a contributor wants to create a brand new sample, what are the best practices for like structure, naming, and documentation?
That's a good question, and this is some sort of a gray area, I'm afraid, but I would be very much happy to like support any contributor onto that. If you have an idea for like a brand new like sample that you definitely like to see on the sample apps page, or maybe like just in our repository, because we have like a ton of contributors who build these sample applications and may want to have some sort of an official affiliation so that they can kind of distribute to a much wider community. In that case, the best thing that they can do is reach out to us on our Slack community. So you can go to slack.localstack.cloud. And over there, we have a specific contributors channel that is, I guess, maintained by Kaya herself. And what you can do is like, you can post a message over there and say like, hey, I would like to have this particular sample application. This is what I have in mind. These are the services that I want to use. And if you can tie this to a particular or a specific use case that LocalStack supports, for example, cloud pods or chaos engineering, or let's say ephemeral instances, for example, we would be even like happy to support you to get like a limited like trial for local stack pro features or the license features. And we can also support you in building that particular sample application. So just reach out to us. Let us know what you have thought. You don't like need to put a very strong and like a lengthy proposal. Just like a few lines or like maybe a paragraph or two would be enough. And you can let us know what you have in mind. And we can create the repository for you. We can give you like those required permissions or the rights for you to contribute to that sample application. And you'll be more than happy to kind of mark those contributions under HacktoberFest. And this would be like much better than like just contributing to like few sporadic issues. You can in fact take your own lead, like build a completely new sample application from ground up. And I can very much say like if you are a student or if you're someone like who's very new in their career, this can be like a good project to even like showcase. And this is officially going to be affiliated with us. So we can also like kind of watch for that, and we can say like, hey, one of our contributors built this. So try this out, take it for a run. And yeah, this would be something like you would be very proud of.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think a lot of people do Hacktoberfest, that are like jumping in the engineering for the first time or trying to get their first role. So yeah, if you are, if you have aspirations in cloud engineering, this is definitely a good place to start, like contributing a sample app to LocalStack for Hacktoberfest. Definitely. Cool. So, if you could think of the type of sample apps that will be most valuable to the community right now, what comes to mind?
Again, a very good question. I would very much say like this is like a phase within our team or like within the whole the developer experience that we're building around LocalStack, where we are like not just limited to like being just an AWS emulator, but some sort of a platform where like emulation is one part of the equation, but the other part of the equation is developer experience, usability, and how we can eventually help you do and test things that are not possible on the cloud. For example, one of our core features, chaos engineering, basically allows you to like simulate like chaos or faults or outages in your locally running application. I guess no other tool basically does that for you. So perhaps the sample applications or the contributions that would be most valuable to us is if you can think about like what kind of use cases that you can attach to a sample application. So if I can show you this page again, like maybe let's go to the local stack samples GitHub org. We have a ton of samples, and some of the samples were maybe like months or maybe years ago, and it fell like into the cracks, like it's like not being maintained anymore, or maybe like they're not super relevant. Uh, I'm not sure if my screen is visible. Let me just put it back. Yes, here it is. Uh, so if you find like any sample application that we do not like put it on the sample apps page, or we are like no longer maintaining, maybe you can take a lead on this and maybe you can try to figure out like, okay, this is something that maybe we can take a look at, or we can try to revamp, or we can try to attach it to a particular use case. For example, if I can show you one particular case of such a sample application, uh, yeah, let's take about this one. This was built by one of our previous DevRel engineers, Anka, who was one of the fantastic colleagues that I have had the pleasure of working with. So she built a sample application for reInvent the last year. And it's like a pretty fantastic sample app, but since then it has not been maintained, it has not been revamped. So maybe you can take a stab at this. Maybe you can try to revamp that. Maybe you can try to attach it to a particular use case. What areas do you think people might like to use it with the local stack platform? So if you have some ideas, definitely go ahead, create an issue over here, dump in your thoughts, and ping us about that. And we can take a look at that, and we can try to make sure that this sample application kind of like gets upgraded to like a tier one sample application, which we constantly monitor, we constantly maintain, and make sure that we can also recommend this to all of our customers out there. So I guess finding relevant sample apps, attaching it to a particular use case, revamping it up, that is a pretty great way of like contributing to the overall samples experience.
That does seem like a really good way to make a huge impact, get some experience, and not have to like be super creative. I mean, like we want to be able to, get a contribution. It's only a month, right? We want to be able to get contributions as quickly as possible. So like, I think that's a really great idea. It's like, okay, it's something that already exists, but for a different use case. So it just takes a smidge of creativity. You don't have to think of something totally new. So don't let like your lack of ideas possibly be like a hindrance for participating, because absolutely, just like revamp something that we already have. Great idea.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about this. All right, so a contributor, finds a sample that they want to work on, or finds an issue that currently exists, because now we have issues in our sample apps repo for HacktoberFest. So say they pick one, they're like, okay, I want to make this stand out. Like, I want to make this like an absolute no-brainer, accept it, give me my swag. What, in your opinion, Harsh, makes a PR stand out during review? So like thinking clarity, testing, architecture, something else.
I would say just write detailed descriptions. That's all I need. I'm someone like who barely does a lot of work on a pull request apart from like just adding the code and the docs. So if you're like putting in something meaningful, just make sure that you find a way to like kind of describe everything that you have done. So I don't put like a lot of emphasis on like, okay, you need to have the architecture right, or you need to have like the docs right, or something like that. But at least having the basic understanding of, okay, that's the atomic work, or that's the like minute contribution that I put forward. Okay, maybe that's a way to test it out. Maybe that's my thought process of building this whole thing. I guess that's more than enough for me to understand about what's going on. So even if beyond the Hacktoberfest, maybe you are interested in contribution, you can pick it up from that particular point and start contributing. Or maybe if some other contributor would also like to do the same, like they can pick it up from your thoughts or your notes and continue to do the same. So I would say try to put like atomic contributions. Do not try to push as many things as possible in just one pull request. Like if you are trying to build like a sample application, for example, do not try to have the code, the tests, the docs, like everything in one PR. Like try to put like incremental updates here and there so that it's easy to review them and it's easy to like make sure that everything is going in the right direction. And just write like very well detailed descriptions. Like use ChatGPT or any other AI tool for that. But like try to put forward your thoughts about what went on with this particular pull request or with this particular contribution. And we can basically like take it up from there. We can like try to forge a path about what's the best way going forward.
Very good. Okay, yes, and yes, folks, don't be afraid to use AI for your pull requests.
Yeah.
Descriptions. Like, can't stress that enough. That was a good tip because a lot of people are like, no, I just want to be able to do it on my own. I mean, I think it's great to like have to be able to flex that muscle and kind of train it. But on the
Yeah.
same token, I think, if you put in what you actually changed and let Chat GPT do a good PR description for you, that's a good learning vehicle. Like, read it, see what's there, and then you can kind of start learning how to flex that muscle. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Lastly, you did well. Two follow-ups. You mentioned testing, and a lot of folks are like, there's a lot of folks that might be new and maybe not even new that are not really like types to write unit tests. Um, in your ideal PR, right? Does your ideal PR include like any type of test for the sample apps?
Yeah, that's
Just
the,
a brand
that's the area where local stack comes in. Yeah. So like take local stack for a spin, like get your auth token, like start local stack on your machine. Whatever sample application is running, like maybe even if you don't have any ideas about like, okay, this is what I'm gonna work on. If you find a sample application and it does not have tests, that's an area of contribution. And as I mentioned, like do not be shy of using AI tools. Like I use that almost like every time when I'm starting out with a project, when I need to brainstorm on ideas or things of that sort. Like throw into an AI tool, like kind of start writing tests and make sure that we cover like a lot of different bright scenarios where this sample application can be potentially used and that can like work out as a perfect contribution to any particular project. So yeah, definitely take local stack for a run, use AI as a helper to like kind of write the tests and validate them. And yeah, that's gonna be like a pretty good contribution for this HacktoberFest.
Awesome, awesome. And you
Yeah.
also mentioned something about contributing after Hacktoberfest. Like, let's talk a little bit
Yes.
about that. I mean, Hacktoberfest isn't the only time you can contribute to our Pro Samples repo. Like, let's talk about how folks can kind of continue down the road after Hacktoberfest. Like, this is but the beginning.
Definitely. So I would say like Kaya, under your leadership, like we have already trying to nurture like this whole open source contribution base, and we're trying to get in like more and more contributors over here.
Yes.
So like if you are feeling a bit daunted about like, okay, maybe docs is not like your cup of tea, or maybe like you don't want to contribute to the core right now, you just want to like try and test how local stack works in principle, like okay, starting local stack, running the tests, running the sample apps and things of that sort. Like our samples are perhaps the best place. So take any of the sample app for a run, see what particular issues you discover or what particular regressions that you find out, and just try to put out a contribution for that. So even beyond Hacktoberfest, like you can keep on contributing to open source. I still remember like I started my whole tech journey like with Hacktoberfest back in 2019, and it has been like a roller coaster ride since then. So I would say like this is not like just a month-long program where you can like just do your contributions and just call it a year. It's something like of a commitment that you can keep on working on with your favorite orgs, with your favorite projects, and you can keep on contributing, like even within local stack or like maybe some other org, like because GitHub is like a vast universe of different projects and different orgs that you can always contribute to. So grab that chance, and I definitely think like this is going to be like a huge boost for your tech journey, like no matter what project that you're contributing to.
Absolutely. I totally agree. This is like a really good jumpstart. Like a lot of times you'll see, job descriptions that'll say they want experience for your first role. And people will be like, what do you mean? How am I going to get experience, if I don't have a job? Well, as engineers, like we have open source to solve that problem. So
Yeah.
once, you're building your portfolio for your first role or for, you're interviewing for your first role, build that portfolio in open source. It really shows a lot. Like, so having your own projects is great, but contributing to open source is awesome because it shows that you can work with other people, which is a skill that you're gonna need to have on the job that you probably didn't learn at school. So yeah, huge proponent for open source. Thank you so much, Harsh, for talking about our localstack-pro-samples repo and how folks can contribute, how folks can get started, even if they don't have much experience with open source, even if they don't have much experience with localstack, they can just get started with tests and like really small bug fixes. Definitely appreciate that. And I really hope folks watching are being inspired and ready to go and choose an issue or create their own sample app and open their first HacktoberFest PR. Awesome. Thank you again. And let's bring out Quetzalli so we can talk about some docs contributions. Hey.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay. So I guess I'll just jump in because like I've got quite a few questions for you. So when someone picks a docs issue, what would you say is like the best way to get started? Like you can give a step by step, or if it's high level, what would you say your expert opinion?
Yes. Let me see. Can I screen share or not? Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. So the first thing I would say is make sure that when you're contributing that you actually pay really close attention to all the very useful guidelines that Kaya actually gave us right here in the ticket, where she says, hey, what's missing? What do we need? What are the proposed edits? And, the acceptance criteria. You're going to notice that a lot of these are about helping create consistency in the table of contents in the outline of our tutorials and our sample apps. And so you should notice if you pick more than one issue up, that Kaya has kind of instructed all of us to have first an intro, prerequisites, architecture diagram, etc. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you're looking at the detailed scope of work that Kaya gave you. The second thing I would say is if you're not sure how to do one of these pieces, like for example, maybe you're kind of wondering about the architecture diagram, thinking, what is this? Do I do like a Figma image, or do I use, I don't know, like a mermaid diagram? What do I do? So definitely for sure, if you have any questions, don't feel shy about just, posting your question right there in a comment in the issue directly itself. Or if you've already created a pull request, then, feel free to add on your question to the pull request. But we also have a community Slack channel for docs questions, don't we, Kaya?
Yes, we absolutely do. Actually, that's actually a good plug. It's a docs channel on our community Slack. So you can absolutely go there and ask questions, or you can go to the contributors channel. But like either way, you'll get your questions answered. The docs channel is specifically for docs. So like for people who are contributing to samples, don't throw questions there. But that's the channel that you also pay attention to, Quetzalli, the docs channel. So if you have questions specifically for Quetzalli, go there, docs. All right. So thinking about that, like when you review PRs, because we've got so many PRs to review, what are the qualities of a great docs contribution?
Yes, that's such a good question. Thank you. I would say that the first number one quality must be making sure you followed the instructions given.
That's a simple first one. Yep.
It seems so simple, but we're humans and here we are. Again, if you're not 100% sure or you have questions, like don't be shy, definitely ask your questions. But yeah, when I'm reviewing these pull requests, the number one thing I do is I literally go first to the issue and say, okay, what did Kaya scope out? What did she request? And then if I see something's missing, then, I'll just point it out and take you back to the scope of work that Kaya highlighted for us to do. The other main thing that I look at is the writing quality. you don't want to just like spit something out in like 10 seconds and then just say, okay, cool, I made a contribution. Now here's my resume and give me a job, right? Like that's just not really how it works. Yeah, you really got to put some love and effort into it. Just about how open source can really change. It does change the world, the lives of so many people, right? So,
Absolutely.
right, thank you. So when you're contributing, it's not even just about yourself, it's about all the people that you get the opportunity to serve, to help out, thanks to your amazing contribution. When I'm reviewing them, the other thing that I think about is, hey, did the contributor forget to review their work or see how it renders on the actual website for any, like, we all make mistakes, right?
Absolutely. That's a good point. Because it's like, well, you think, oh, it's just docs, it's just text. But you need to run it.
Oh my goodness, yes, 100%. They'll say, hey, we all think this way. It happens to the best of us. We think, oh, it's just markup, it's just words. I read it, I reviewed it, I'm good to go. But you actually have to go to the extra next step of actually clicking a preview URL. And I know that that's another question that you have slotted for us in a second, but there is a way to actually preview your change, your contribution on the docs website. So you want to actually do the work of reviewing it, because you want to make sure that you didn't like forget to close a code snippet sample, for example, and then that whole code block doesn't render correctly, so you have a bug. You want to make sure that you added any images, like the architecture diagram, or whatever you might add as a screenshot. Did it actually render? Did I put it in the right directory? There's so many random little bugs that you don't actually notice until you actually preview a sample live URL. So do not forget to review, please.
Good one. And also, like, so some of these docs issues that we have ask for you to put testing steps, like how to test this app. I know this should go without saying, but it's probably a good idea to make sure that the test actually works.
Yes, thank you. Yes, 100%. If you're writing, making a lot of changes to the tutorial, for example, or to the sample app, you actually want to go back and do exactly what Kaya just recommended you do. You want to go back and actually do the whole tutorial yourself and see, wait, does the way I wrote it actually work, or did I accidentally introduce a bug?
Absolutely. Because, just like you said, we're human, folks make mistakes. But this is all about making our samples and our docs better, not introducing more problems. So definitely make sure it works. Okay, so you mentioned this, but maybe you could give us just a tad bit more detail about how contributors can preview or test their docs changes before submitting a PR.
Yes, thank you so much for asking. Let me go ahead and screen share again. All right, so if you folks can see my screen, this is a sample documentation pull request that was already merged, so it's already live. But when you create a pull request, if you did everything correctly and one of the main contributors on the docs, so like an admin, for example, runs the workflows so that it generates a preview URL deploy, then you're going to notice that every time you push a new commit to your pull request, you will get this generated right here for you. You'll have this huge comment from the Cloudflare bot and a very clear preview URL link. So then when you just click on it, literally you can go and search for the page you changed. Let's pretend this was the page you changed. And then you can test, okay, does it look good? Did I introduce any issues? All right, good to go. So that's how you get that one. Awesome. If it doesn't generate, if you get instead build failed, well, that's useful information too, because then we can check the logs and see, why did it fail? What was the accidental whoopsie that we made here?
Perfect. So it's kind of foolproof. It's like, if you click that link and your change looks good, then chances are you're good. As long as there aren't any like issues with the actual tutorial itself and it works the way that it should, you can pretty much guarantee that you are going to get your PR merged. Now, if you do click that link and it looks crazy, fix it.
Please do.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so what would you say are some of the common pitfalls contributors should watch out for when editing or writing docs? And I have a interesting follow up for this, but yeah, first answer that one.
That's a good question. So one of the things that I would think about is, and actually, let's go over here to another pull request that was submitted just today. We noticed an inconsistency. Well, somebody noticed an inconsistency in the docs where in the web app for LocalStack, we have mentions of stacks, but then in the documentation itself, we always refer to them as LocalStack instances. So then naturally this contributor asks, wait a minute, well, which one is it? Which is the correct product name? Is it an instance? Is it a stack? And if it's a stack and this should just match the web app, then maybe this is a pull request, a good pull request for me to contribute to, right? So sometimes you have like a good idea or you think you notice something extra that needs to be fixed, but I would make sure that, if you have extra ideas or things that you want to contribute to HacktoberFest or even after HacktoberFest, you just contribute to localstack-docs whenever you got free time, you notice things and you're not quite sure. Don't feel shy to ask initially some of your questions, maybe even directly to the bot. So for example, I'm going to go ahead here to our documentation. Well, it lets me. Okay, here we go. There we go. I think, or not resources. I clicked on the wrong one. There we go. All right. So let's pretend that I'm curious to know, like, hey, what's the right term here? What should I use? You could also first do some research in the documentation itself to see if what you're wondering about is already covered or answered somewhere else, and then you kind of unblock yourself. But another great resource that I really highly recommend is, some folks haven't even noticed, but right here, in the bottom right corner, we do have the Kappa bot, and it's pretty helpful. So we can ask our questions to the Kappa bot, and then the Kappa bot will actually respond. It's like a really useful AI bot. And after it answers your question, it'll also point you to specific documents that already discuss what you're trying to learn more about. So again, if you're having trouble finding something directly here in the search bar, or you're not really sure what to search for, sometimes just going to the Kappa bot and asking its questions, you can kind of unblock yourself. And you can even ask the bot, hey, I'm wondering about this, but I don't see currently a good document that answers my question. What are some ideas? And to kind of mention an early idea that even you yourself mentioned, Kaya, I think with Harsh a second ago, definitely don't feel shy to incorporate AI responsibly, not in a spammy way, please. Use AI to help guide you with some ideas, some contributor ideas. Sometimes you're thinking about making a change, but you're not really sure. So you can have, kind of treat AI as your subject matter expert who's kind of on the sidelines helping you out, kind of like having another senior nearby that you want to ask more questions to before you actually, put out your pull request.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. What are your thoughts about using AI to contribute? And so you mentioned that, which I really appreciate, but also I think there is something to be said about, especially with documentation. Sometimes people can and will copy and paste AI. What are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts about using AI responsibly in our documentation?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a scary question. Oh, okay. I hope nobody quotes me afterward.
Being recorded, all your I'm just
It
kidding.
is being recorded. You're right. Oh, it's live prosperity. Oh no.
No. Give me your loose like first thoughts. Like we're not. This is not like a binding contract, Quetzalli.
Okay. I would say the number one thing is I definitely greatly hope that you're not just like a copy and paster with AI or Stack Overflow or anything in general, because the value that you provide is the uniqueness of your specific skill set. So when you just copy and paste, you're not showing up with any unique value because it's not your thoughts. It's not your skill set. It's just you copying and pasting something else that you found somewhere. So when you're actually writing documentation, your brain is very unique, right? Every brain is unique and thinks differently and problem solves differently. And even though we all have things in common, at the end of the day, just one person will have different unique ideas that the other person hasn't thought of, right? Or different people will teach concepts differently, right? And so sometimes when you're trying to learn something new, you don't necessarily just go to one YouTube creator, right? You might check out different ones because you want to learn from different perspectives and different styles and things like that. So when you just copy and paste from AI and don't really put in your uniqueness, your value, your tone of voice, your knowledge, your opinion, there's just such a huge loss there, right? So you might think you saved some time yourself, but in the long run, you're kind of like, I guess, almost undervaluing yourself and not fully stepping into your power of all you have to give, right? The next thing I would say about using AI responsibly is I don't really use it to be me, because as useful as AI and LLMs are, and training agents and all these things are, they cannot replace your reasoning skills, your ability to fact check and have a unique tone of voice that people enjoy reading and learning from. So I like to use AI more so as a tool that accelerates my entire workflow, but not to replace me, because then where's the value, right? So I use it to research, to generate ideas for improving outlines, improving templates. I use it to research code snippets. If something's a little bit too complicated for me, I'm like, oh, what's really going on here? You know what? I'll ask the AI or I'll use Cursor, and, saves me a lot of time and it educates me for my own specific knowledge gaps. So I would use it to help you learn more, train your knowledge gaps, and as a research tool. But the other main thing is that you are the one that is also the editor and the fact checker. And that is a unique skill set that the AI cannot really fully provide. Sure, there's several AI tools that can be very useful for editing, things like Grammarly, improving your grammar, cleaning it up, but it cannot fact check reliably for you. So you always have to be aware of the pros and cons and the limitations that AI has. What can I actually use it for, and what?
Right. Just use it responsibly. Yep. And copy pasta is never a good thing. So real quick, beyond Hacktoberfest, how can folks stay involved? Just what if folks want to just contribute all year long? How can folks do it?
Oh, yeah. The cool thing about localstack-docs is that they are 100% open source. So anyone can go to the documentation repository and anyone can take a look at the current issues that are open and see, hey, somebody else already filed my idea, so there's no need for me to create an issue. Or maybe somebody created an issue, but they don't have time to do the work, the actual pull request. So you could jump in, look at an issue that looks interesting and say, hey, I have the time. I'll do the pull request. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, for sure. I would also recommend just kind of thinking about what are the current things that you don't like about the local stack documentation. It's not perfect. It is a continual process of iteration and improvement and growth. And so think about what's something you wish you could fix or improve in our current documentation. And then when you think of a solution for this problem that you have, then, wow, go ahead and create a pull request and we'll be so grateful to you.
There you go. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Quetzalli. Like I said, I hope folks are inspired to get into the docs, open some PRs. We actually got plenty of docs PRs that we are currently going through and sifting through and reviewing. So if you have submitted a PR, which actually let's like go ahead and shout out all the folks that have submitted PRs. Are actually gonna you see your name, your GitHub handle at the bottom here. You guys have submitted docs PRs, and we really appreciate you. We are in the process of reviewing. Please be patient while we go through all of your wonderful, wonderful contributions. So big up to everybody who has submitted so far. Woo!
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Quetzalli. Like, I want to bring you back on right after I talk about swag, but I want to hear. So don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. But I also want to talk about swag because we're doing our own swag in addition to the HacktoberFest T-shirt that they're giving everyone. We are for our first 20 merged contributors. We are delivering you a T-shirt, a special local stack HacktoberFest T-shirt. And so that way you could wear it and be like, hey, I contributed to Hacktoberfest with Local Stack. So get those PRs, and we're actually almost to 20, you guys. So like if you want to get and we're reviewing in order so that once we get to 20, we're not, it's not gonna we're not skipping over people. So first 20 merge gets a t-shirt. And you would need to, once your PR has been merged, you need to go to the swag form, which will put that link in the chat, and also we'll put it up here real quick. Let's see. Hold on. Let me find it. Let me find the swag form link. That's basically just a Google form. Oh, there we go. It's up there. And let's go ahead and put it in the chat too. Thank you. Yes. So it's a simple Google form that you go in, and the information that you put into that Google form for us to ship you your swag will only be used to ship you your swag. That's it. Nothing else. Awesome. So can we bring Harsh back on as well? Do we have any questions from folks in the audience? While we're waiting to see if there are any folks in the audience that have questions. Thank you so much, Prakar, for being inspired and fidgety. I hope you are ready to get your first PR open. If you haven't already. But yeah, thank you both for being on and sharing your knowledge and your expertise, and just, helping us get to like our first year back in Hacktoberfest and helping us make it a great one. I really feel like I have a good feeling. We started off with a bang. We have more contributions than I expected us to have. Like, the momentum is building, and let's keep it going. Let's keep spreading the word. As we all have mentioned, and we'll mention again, if you are wanting to contribute and you want to get like the first place to get started, definitely go to our Slack channel, slack.localstack.cloud, and check out the contributors channel. And that's where you get started. If you have specific questions for docs, hit up the docs channel. Awesome. Good for you, Prakar. Good for you. Well, and I guess since we are over time, I would like to thank you all again and get to PR pulling. I think that was, look, I'm gonna just go with it, right? Like let's make that a thing. Get to PR pulling. All right, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Until next time. Bye.